Hey everyone, my name is TheiPadCat. The Axeman did quite an interesting video recently where he talked about the most important quality of a game. In that video he came to the conclusion that that very thing was challenge. And I sort of agree with him, but I don't think that's the absolute objective thing that makes a game good or not. Gameplay or story, which is more important? I don't even know how many times I've come across this type of post on social media before. Gameplay versus story, hearts react for gameplay, likes for story. I mean, I think it's quite counterproductive to force people to choose between those two things. Firstly, a lot of it has to do with personal preference, and secondly, and arguably more importantly, I think it's a matter of circumstance. Some concepts just fit a more gameplay-focused experience, and some others fit a more story-tailored experience. Take The Last of Us and Telltale's Walking Dead, for example. Those games stand out in their genre because they are story-oriented. The concept of guiding a group of survivors through a zombie-infested southern United States and making the difficult decisions that a leader of a group has to do fits more the linear approach, the strictly linear approach, than it fits the open world survival zombie-ish game, which has been done 1,000 times before. And the same goes for The Last of Us. I touched on this in my video about why The Last of Us cannot be an open world game, but basically it's about The Last of Us's concept. Its entire concept it is the journey of Joel and Ellie throughout the United States and their emotional journey as well, and that would never work in the same way if it was like in the I mentioned for the Walking Dead game, a standard open world survival zombie game, which, well, we've seen so many times before. I mean, how would it even work, the story concept of The Last of Us, if you were stuck in an open world in, like, let's say Massachusetts, around Boston or something, like they are in the beginning of the game. Of course, the same goes for games like GTA, where the concept for the entire game is absolute freedom for the player to do whatever they want, even within the story and outside of it. How would you get the experience of building up a crew of career criminals and making moves, each one more daring than the last one in, well, a parody of the Los Angeles area? I mean, that wouldn't just work if everything was just predetermined and on a linear path of rail story gameplay. I mean, nobody would play that. Some people might say, oh well, obviously gameplay is the more important thing because, well, it's called game, and within a game you do gameplay. If you want to have a story, go watch a movie or read a book. But I don't think that's right. Gameplay-oriented games are usually, and I say usually because this isn't the case with all gameplay-oriented games, but gameplay-oriented games are usually this type of more light-hearted, simple type of fun. In GTA, for example, what makes it fun is the ability to do whatever you want, the ability to cause chaos, do things that you wouldn't be able to do in real life, and essentially just play in the world. But if you want a different type of fun, like being part of a grander story scheme, or a more adventure-y feel, like taking Ellie to the Fireflies from the East Coast to essentially the West Coast in The Last of Us, I think story-oriented games are better for that. And I don't think just watching a movie could ever replace that. I mean, when you watch a movie, it's more like you're a spectator rather than someone that's participating. I mean, when you're playing a game, a story-oriented game, that feels like the immersion makes you feel like you're there, participating in the events that's unfolding. Anyways, that's just what I think. What do you think? Do you think either gameplay or story is objectively better than the other, or do you think it's based on circumstance, like me? Tell me in the comments down below and let's discuss it. And until next time, have a great day.